Hello everyone, Neil Tappin here from Golf Monthly, and welcome to this video in which we're going to be taking a look at the 7 best ball striking tips. So if you are struggling with your ball striking with your irons or with your driver, there should be something in this video to help you out. Now the tips and advice is coming from Alex Elliott. He's a PGA pro and his advice is really simple and effective and should help you find the middle of the club face that little bit more often. Guys, if you're new to the Golf Monthly channel, please do hit the subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss any of our videos. Hit the like button if you like what you're watching. But let's head out now onto the range here at West Hill and look at the 7 best ball striking tips. Okay, so the first one to look at on our list, Alex, is understanding the descending blow. So with an iron in your hand, most golfers know you need to hit down on the ball slightly. The question is how much and how do you do it?
It all depends on what iron we're using. So if we use a rule of thumb, the more loft we've got, the more generally we want to hit down on it. The less loft we've got, the more we still want to hit down on it, but the less we want to hit down on it.
Okay, fine. So I guess the question is then, given that almost every shot you hit is going to be with a slightly different club, how do you make sure that you're making those compensations just right so that you get the strike right?
I think it's firstly understanding the concept of, okay, imagine if I hold this alignment stick up here with a golf ball. It's understanding that we're looking for that ball then turf contact. Now, that's the first stumbling block. A lot of golfers are feeling like they want to brush the turf a lot of the time, or even with the longer irons, help it into the air. If we can avoid that with everything, that is a real game changer.
Why is that such a big mistake?
Because anytime that we try and get the ball into the air, we expose this bottom of the golf club, the leading edge. So we can get fats, we can get thins, and ultimately we're not striking out the middle. So our efficiency is not going to be as great.
Okay, so then the question is, how do we get that descending blow that you're talking about?
So I would do a really nice simple drill. This is the first one we can try, is actually focusing on a mark just in front of the golf ball, because this is something you can do on a mat on the range. You could have a little bit of an impression. You could feel as though this is something on the golf course or even on a grass range like we've got here. Right. It gives you something to look towards. So I'm focusing on trying to hit through this area here, just in front, and maybe make, like I've done there, a little bit of an impression just to work towards. So the question was before, okay, how do I distinguish between a 4-iron and a pitching wedge? I would generally, and without going too complicated for people, just have it half an inch or an inch in front of the golf ball. I think if most people focus on hitting down on it, that will improve their strike in general, rather than being like, okay, I've got to hit down more with a pitching wedge, because that could open up a catalogue and almost a whirlwind of thoughts.
I guess you can do that with your ball position.
Exactly, that'll make a difference.
Yeah, and then don't focus on that.
Definitely, because as the ball goes up in the stance, like if I had a driver that's teed up, it's more up in the stance, I'm less likely to hit down on it. Think about if we're hitting a lower shot, we would put that ball back in our stance to hit more down on it. Yeah. So the ball position will tend to help us, definitely. Okay, go on then, hit one for us, Alex. So I've got my 7-iron here. I kind of throw a lottery in here. I use all 1-length irons, so it's a little bit different for me. But I tend to feel my 7-iron, and how I usually work it, pitching wedge always starts in the middle, half a ball forwards, works all the way up to where driver is. That's how I like to feel it. So I've got it just in between my buttons and my logo. I'm concentrating on that impression just in front of the golf ball. That's what I'm looking for. Lovely. Yeah, and you'll notice there, well, hopefully you can see that through the camera, how the bit of grass that the ball was sat on is still intact. The bit of grass after the ball has gone. That's exactly the contact you're looking for. Okay, so next up we have a drill that's not only going to help you get that descending blow that we talked about, but is also going to help you find the centre of the club face a little bit more often, right? Yeah, so we've talked about how we get down the golf ball, which gets us a centre strike from top to bottom. This is a great drill of getting them both. Okay, fine. So it may feel quite claustrophobic with the golf club on the ground here. So I've ultimately made a gate just wide enough for my golf club to fit through ahead of the golf ball. Yeah. So what we're looking to do here is place the golf ball just behind it. Can we, one, take a divot along the line after where the tees, but also can we swing through it? Yeah, what I really like about this is that just by having those 2 tees down there, it really focuses your mind on hitting the club right out, or hitting the ball right out the centre of the club face, which is something that I think that a lot of the time you're thinking about other things in the golf swing and maybe aren't concentrating so much on a centred strike. This does that. Definitely, and if I ask you to hammer a nail into the wall, not too bothered about the hammer, wrist hinge, what's happening. You've concentrated on the nail, aren't you? Yes. So this is really nice and simple. So if I said to you, Neil, this is like out of bounds, this is inbounds, I only want you to take a divot on the inbound side and swing through the gate. Yeah, okay, go on then. Let's see what it looks like. Feel myself under pressure now.
Lovely. Straight through the gate, no problems. Right, so hopefully everyone understands how important it is to get that descending blow that we talked about. And they've also got something to work on, a line in the ground to help them create it. But there's also a few other drills that will really help the quality of your ball striking as well. And this is one of them, isn't it, Alex?
Definitely. I mean, it's what I kind of call the pressure drill, and the alignment stick pressure drill. It's something that I do myself, because if you look at all the top ball strikers, we're creating pressure. The hands are ahead of the golf ball with an iron.
Yes.
And that really helps us
through
get
impact.
Yeah,
right?
through
so
impact.
The hands slightly
exactly.
ahead of the ball through impact. Right.
And if we look at commentary on TV, it's something that we all speak about. So how can we get a feeling of that? I think we've got to get a feeling of it for most golfers, because it's hard for me just to say, well, go on, get your hands ahead of the golf ball. Well, what is that?
Yes.
We need to get a feeling.
Yeah.
So what I really like here is I put the alignment stick quite a way into the ground, so the ground may have to be a little bit soft to do that. I want you to address the alignment stick with the club in the middle. I want you to make your backswing to the top. I want you to make an impact where we feel as though we've got our hands ahead of the golf ball. And I can put quite a lot of resistance through that.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of shaft bend there as you're doing that, yeah.
And I mean, that is a complete kind of extreme, but it's a real great feeling to have. One thing I would say, if you're struggling to get it with an actual backswing, it's another great way to feel it in this sequence just from the address position. So belt buckle to target, hands ahead of the golf ball, really get a feeling of pressure, and that's what's going to really help you strike.
Yeah, and I guess anyone can sort of preset the perfect impact, can't they? 'Cause
Definitely.
It's a position that you can kind of force yourself into, and then if you can do it more often, your ball striking should improve.
Yeah, and like I said before, having a feeling of what you're trying to achieve is key. Think about if you're working on a new backswing feeling, you're trying to feel flatter or steeper, whatever it is, you'd have a feeling for it. So this is a real nice way. And if you build it into a range session, maybe 2 or 3 reps of feeling that ahead, take the alignment stick out, hit the shot away.
Hopefully that tip helps. Okay, so the next tip on our list focuses specifically on the driver, and I think, Alex, that when it comes to driver, sometimes people forget about centered contacts, because the drivers are so forgiving these days. You can get away with those off-center hits so easily, but actually it's crucial for not only power but also accuracy as well.
Definitely. I mean, the amount of times now, like, you can hit one out the toe of a good driver or the heel, and you still find the fairway, and it's not too much shorter.
Yes, you forget all about it and you carry on, but actually you could be ingraining something not so healthy.
Definitely. And if we looked at that with an iron, we'd say, well, okay, I'll hit out the toe, wasn't very good, and we'll get really punished for it. So we should try our best to train a centered strike. It's the most efficient part of the club, and actually a lot of people who slice the golf ball may even have a heel strike pattern,
heel contact,
which is going to accentuate that anyway.
Yeah, okay. Begs the question, how do we do it?
So what I'd say is getting an aerosol or a foot spray is a really good one, just to see and spray on the club face. Let's see where you're striking it. I think if you don't know where you're striking it, which potentially some golfers don't.
Yes.
We have to know where we're striking it in order to move forwards.
Yeah, so most people will have a strike pattern. The best players in the world, they'll be very, very centered right in the middle of the club face. And as you go up higher, handicap is going to be a little bit more away from the center.
Yeah.
But you should notice, I guess, a pattern. You should notice whether they're more out of the toe or out of the heel.
Exactly, and that's the first port of call. We've got to know what your pattern is, or what my pattern is, or your pattern when you're watching this video. So you find that out. And then a great drill, what we've got here is we've got a gate. So if you're a little bit off the toe, you're a little bit off the heel, all we've got to do is try and swing through the gate.
Okay.
Other benefits we've all seen about being more efficient, hitting it on the up, is can we swing through the gates, but up above the gates on the way through?
Okay, go on then, hit one for us, and then we'll find out, because having just sprayed the club, we should be able to see where the ball hits. Well, that couldn't be much straighter.
Out the middle. A little bit out the high right middle, but if that was every time, I'd be extremely happy.
Okay, so one of the areas I think where a lot of golfers become unstuck is getting the sequencing in the golf swing right. Everyone knows that you need to kind of move in the right way, but you also need to do it in the right order, don't you, Alex? So what have you got for us here? What have you got that will help?
A simple analogy, and I don't want to go into it in too much detail, because I think you can almost think it's too much mechanics, I've got to do this.
Yes, I know how that feels, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there as well. On the golf course, it's hard to take it to the course like that. So if I said to you, from the top of your backswing to transition to your downswing, in the downswing, can you feel the hips are always ahead of the shoulders, or the upper half is chasing the lower?
Right, okay.
So what I would feel like that was from here, on the downswing now, the upper half is now chasing the lower. If you look where the alignment stick is pointing from my belt buckle, or my hip line,
yeah,
so my shoulder line.
Slightly close to where your hips are, yeah.
So the upper is always chasing the lower. Another really nice way of explaining that is, can you get your belt buckle to target before your chest is to target? So ultimately opening up, and it's amazing if you get people moving better, quality of strike and efficiency skyrockets.
Yeah, I mean, sequencing is absolutely crucial in golf swing. It's one of those things that good rhythm equals good sequencing. If you can get it right, you should strike the ball a little bit better. Okay, so as we've talked about, finding the perfect impact position is absolutely key here. And this is another drill that will help you do that, again, through pre-setting that impact position. Explain more.
Exactly. So on TV, we've seen our modern day version of Jim Furyk, Matt Wolff. Unique swing, but a lot of power and a lot of consistency.
And a very, very good ball striking as well.
Yeah, probably one of the best on tour right now.
Yeah.
So if we look at what he does his first move, very similar to what we said with the alignment stick drill on the ground, feeling that pressure. Before every shot, he's getting a feeling. Now, we're sort of speculating that he's getting it for impact, but we can definitely attach ourselves to something that we can see on TV. I think if I look back over the years of actually looking at a putt, I'd probably got that from Tiger. So
right,
if you use like an idol or someone in the media or someone like that, it's okay, I can see that move, I can picture myself doing that move. So what we're looking for is, before every shot, maybe try it on the driving range to begin with, but definitely out on the golf course, feel the pressure, off, move and hit it away.
And it's a great move because you can do that, can't you? Everyone can just feel the pressure into the left side of their body, create that kind of sensation that's going to create the descending blow that you talked about.
Exactly, and the biggest thing that helps us get the descending blow is actually that transfer of weight. So if we've got a feeling of that at impact, and just before we do it, here, go and hit it away, we've now got something that we can attach to an actual impact position.
Okay, let's see it.
Put myself, let's try this. Pressure it, back, hit it. And I really like it because it gets me a feeling of, actually, I know where I want to go to. I've just been there half a second ago. Let's go there again.
And that was perfectly struck and a dead straight shot. Okay, and the last tip is really for those people out there who are struggling with the striking, particularly with driver in hand. And Alex, this is about understanding how the arc of the golf swing works. So a bit more about, you know, I guess with the irons it was descending blow, with the driver it's actually an ascending blow. Exactly
that. There's two ways of looking at it. One, trying to train the ascending blow, but also understanding that this arc works around the body. I think a lot of people try and fight it and swing it straight through or straight back.
Yeah.
It's understanding that it's on an incline plane around us, so if we imagine we had a hula hoop around us, we just want to swing around the hula hoop and back down. But if we look at this a little bit closer and we imagine that I was a little stick man inside here and we had an arc going round, you can see here how the ball is up in our stance, is closer towards our left heel, and how the club head will just travel up and down this rail. So along it on the way back, back down to impact, bottom out just before, back up on the way through. That's going to help us really feel as though, one, we hit up on it, two, we trust the natural arc. Anytime we can do that, I think a lot more people have more joy, more centered strikes and better shots. So the question I've got for you then, Alex, is with an iron in hand, you're looking for a descending blow. Yeah. With a driver in hand, you're looking for an ascending blow. Is the swing different? Is the swing that you need to make with a driver different to the swing you need to make with an iron? I would say it all comes from your setup. Right, okay. So we'd have the ball more up in the stance for a driver, and on a T-peg, it's going to encourage that ascending blow. With a 7-iron, for example, it's going to be further back in our stance, it's going to encourage a more of a descending blow. Other things will be spine angle, how we set up at address, be a little bit different between irons and driver. But I would tend to, and I would say to most people, with a driver, make a 7-iron swing in terms of speed, in terms of pace. Most people can attach themselves to hitting good swings with a 7-iron. Yeah. So take that to driver as well. Yeah, so you're making the same swing, but with the adjustments you've made at address, you should be able to create the blow you're looking for. And then the rhythm of a 7-iron would be great. Well, go on then. Lovely. Straight. Very straight, Alex, and long. And you know, these are the things, these are the basics, but we all get them wrong from time to time, and it's easy for mistakes to creep in. It can affect your ball striking. Hopefully that helps you out if you're struggling with your driver. So there you have it. That was Alex's list of the 7 best ball striking tips. Guys, before you go, please do hit the pause button and let us know what you thought. Have you tried any of these drills or tips in the past? If so, let us know how you get on. We'd be very interested to hear what you have to say. But for now, from West Hill, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.